everyone. So in this video, I'm just going to brief you over what we've done so far and share with you the final solution of our clustering exercise. So as you can see here, we have one table that has a key here, unique key. The unique key here is a serial number from 1 until 33, I think 32. So we have a key in each database. There are tables. And let's imagine this table has a unique key, which is an offer number. In the second table, in reality, guys, to say the truth, but this is just to make it a little bit oversimplified and easily understandable by you. But you are just second-year students, but just for you to know that in reality, you won't have the client name. You will have something like client ID. We don't really deal with names because this is the name of the person we contact, but usually we deal with a company name. We have a client name. So we have the client ID most of the time. You will have something client ID and the offer number. And most importantly, there is one table missing, which is the table that has the client ID or the client name and their email, their contact information, their address, and so forth, so that you can send them the email. You don't need the address really, but usually in that table for contact information table, or it's usually called the client to profile table, that you will have enough information about that client and you will have the client ID. But I didn't want to put so many numbers in front of you, rather make it more natural with the names. And I cannot come up with it's actually, to say the truth, I cannot take credit of it. This is a database that comes from MailChimp. So they put it this way also because they can't disclose the name of the clients they work with as well. All right, so first thing we've done is a pivot table. So we put the pivot table on the client ID or client name, offer number or offer ID, and that was by insert and a pivot table. With this pivot table in hand, we just copied from here the clients, and we did a preparation step. In this preparation step, we pulled out this information. Actually, we pulled out everything, but we rearranged it in such a way. We started with the campaign here until peak, past peak, and then we put the offer number at the very end. So we had this preparation step where we put this, and then we put the offer number, and then we put all the clients. Now we copied all of this and started with the Kmeans clustering. With the Kmeans clustering, what we've done is we used, as you can see here, we added vectors, 5 vectors for 5 centroids for 5 clusters. So now we want to find the distance between each client over here and the centroid over here. So we will have the distance here is a Euclidean distance. So it's the square of the summation of the difference of the squared difference. Actually, as you can see here, there's squared difference. And the reason and these curly brackets indicate that you need a shift, control shift and enter. We started with the K-means clustering because you are very familiar with this formula. It's easy for you to digest and also for your own training. So now what we've done is we found the minimum distance, because this is what we need. We need the minimum distance. And these are the distances between this vector and this centroid vector. This vector, this centroid vector. And then the match function returns the index of the cell, or the position of the cell, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, of the first occurrence of the minimum. And this is the assigned cluster. So this returns which cluster. If the minimum distance falls here, then this means cluster 2. If the minimum distance falls here, this means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then it will return 5, which is the distance here, 5. So please be careful doing it neatly, one by one by one by one by one. So it should be organized. All right, so now we need the sum of the distances, because based on the sum of all the distances, the cluster, no, not the cluster, the centroid of the cluster will change position to the mean, which is the sum of all the distances over the number of all the data points. But the number of the data points is unchangeable, is constant. So no need to put it over 100, over 100 is no need for that. Now, I taught you also how a little bit about the optimization. Here we are optimizing this, the sum of all the distances, the minimum distances, minimizing it by changing the centroids. As I showed you in the simulation, nothing is changing location but the centroids, the little x's, colored x's. And then all these numbers, we need to put them less than or equal to 1. Otherwise, we will have crazy big numbers over here, and this will be more like the results, not more like the process, but more like the results you might get in factorial data analysis or factorial analysis, or principal factorial analysis, if you've ever heard of that. This is like for research, so I don't expect any of you knowing much about it. But yeah, any case, then I told you, please select evolutionary. If you want to know more about any of these, like when to use this, when to use this, and when to use this, please join my digital modeling, marketing modeling course. And then we solved it. Of course, we changed a little bit of the options to make it a little bit faster, to run faster. So over here, evolutionary, I think I added an extra 4 zeros here to make it faster, and then 15, and then 600, and then we ran it. I'm not gonna run it right now. If I run it right now, it will take forever. And I would like us all to use the same solution, which is the solution that I provided for you. We are not going to use the K-means clustering because it's quite confusing for us to figure out which a cluster it is. So if I don't want to keep running, so I want to use my computer, I am fed up with Excel, you can just hit the escape key. I hit the escape key and I'm going to stop it. And I'm going to say cancel. So right now, as you can see, guys, here I made a little representation. Here this is cluster 3, for example, this cluster 4, cluster 5. I think maybe I deleted the cluster 1. So this is a cluster 2. I like this view because this view can show you exactly which offers fall into cluster 2. But sometimes it's very difficult. Look at this. Should be like that. And however, sometimes it is difficult because as you can see here, we have so many surges. So which one? What's the cutoff point or value? This is the difficulty that emerges in K-means clustering. Over here, only one. Oh wow! That visually you can see it. This is visually you can recognize it. This is visually you can recognize it. But how about the other 3 clusters? It's very difficult, isn't it? So because of this, we opted for K-median clustering. Before I run into K-median clustering, I just wanted to summarize before I leave here. In general, with the clustering algorithm, there are 2 very important outcomes that you're looking for. Clients belonging to which cluster. And this you can attain it by copying this. So you can just go along and copy this and then copy this. And then you will find, I put it here, I hit a transpose. So if you copy this, for example, and then at the very end, there is a transpose icon. Let me show you. So here, guys, this is the transpose icon. Do you see it? So this is the transpose icon. Do you see, guys? When you want to paste anything, there is this one, the transpose. So you can transpose from horizontal to vertical, vertical to horizontal. If you refresh your memory, a little refresh in your memory, matrix, the matrix operations actually uses a transpose, some of them, yeah? You can't, okay. So for example, in matrices made up of vectors, right? Since we're now talking about vectors, so you could actually, in writing a paper, represent all these vectors of the clients into a matrix. But when you want to multiply, for example, with a certain constant or whatever, it is always multiplying a row by a column. So if you are going to write it in terms of vectors, you just put the vector as is and put a little t, the sub, which means a transpose mathematically. Anyway, this is the same here in Excel. So now we know that Anderson belonged to, and by the way, I just selected all this, went to home, and then went to the filter, and went to the custom filter, and went to cluster, yeah? Or went to cluster because of cluster number, and I just kept it from smallest to largest. So I would know that if I'm going to send an email for customers belonging to cluster 1, definitely I have this client ID here, hopefully, or name, that will lead me to another table in my database that has the client name, the client address, email address, and this is what I need so that I can send one email to all these guys together as bulk email, then one another email to all these guys at once. The idea is not to send one whole email to everyone. We need to customize the emails. For example, some of you are interested in healthy eating because they want to solve a certain health issue. So I'm gonna talk to you about how healthy eating or getting rid of sugar will help you. I'm the last one to talk about that because I'm myself addicted to sugar and I keep getting off and on, off and on. Anyway, if you are into that for weight loss, then I will send you another email. If you are into this because you want more muscle definition, because you can work out in the gym, you can have muscles, and you know what happens, guys, when you get muscles and you are a little fatty like myself, you will look bulkier and fattier like myself. So to my taste, especially for ladies, if you're gonna build muscles and it's really very important for you, probably need to lose the fat so that you will look leaner, because muscle might get you a little bulkier. So you can see from this very real and very simple example that you need to communicate with me, why should I lose fat through reducing sugar, for example, from my diet, for so many different reasons. So if you know my interest and motivation, you should send me an email that talks to my reasoning, to my interest, yeah, that taps on the wound, as we say. All right, so or rubs the wound. I don't know how they say it in English exactly, but anyway, you got the point. So talks to me, talks to the heart. So this is why we're not going to send a whole get email. Now, the second question is, what should I communicate in this email? I need to know more about cluster 1. So the second piece of information is to know, what is it that cluster, how can we describe certain cluster? So we need to know the offers that makes up a certain cluster. And as you can see here, using Euclidean distance, it's very difficult for us to have a cutoff value that tells us that this is within a cluster, this offer is within a cluster or not. Is this offer is within a cluster, is 0.2, is it enough? Is it 0.5? Is it 0.7? Is it 0.6? I don't know. It's so difficult. So for this purpose, we are using K-median clustering. Now, with K-median clustering, there was a bit of a confusion. What was the confusion? Let me revisit this later because we do this again, right? We do this again. So let me just put this here. I'm gonna do this again, guys, with you for the final one. So we are here, 5 median clustering. So now we want a 1 0 1 0 kind of result. So for this purpose, we use the K-median clustering. I'm going to keep these two files because I'm sure, not sure, but at least maybe 1 or 2 students might actually use this for their family business or for their research. Most of our students do theses on, for example, collecting questionnaire data, especially for my DBI students. Please come and approach us so that you can use clustering. Just focus on clustering and get some data set from the internet, do clustering, then do neural network, and that's it. That would be a nice thesis. We don't always have to collect data for research. We can collect data from the internet as a data set, like the one that we're working with right now. So this would be a clustering kind of thesis. In any case, back to the topic. So this one doesn't have the square. Do you see that? It doesn't have the square. And this is the solution. And please use the same solution for the other file that has the square. This file has the square. Now, why I haven't included the square earlier, now I remembered why. I was like, oh, it seems like I made a mistake. And the student told me, hey, Nora, you forgot the square, which is correct. Actually, I didn't forget the square. I forgot why I dropped the square. And just yesterday I remembered, and please forgive me. The thing is, I should write some notes, but also I've been having this very bad allergy lately, and it is killing me with very bad headaches right now. As I speak, I feel like my face is holding 1 kilogram on each cheek of mine because of my sinus. So please forgive me, guys, and be patient with me this semester. I really appreciate it, and I know you have the heart to forgive me. So now I remember why I haven't included this. You know why? Because I went to data and I went to solver, and I said to myself, maybe I can get shorter distance. And I went to solving, and you know what I got, lovely people, and some of you maybe got the same if you actually took my solution and ran solver again. Look what I got. Do you guys see that? Do you guys see that? It gave me only one offer per cluster, and that would be the shortest distance. Is this really what I want? No, it's not really what I want, and this is why I deleted the squares. And don't worry, it's okay. It could happen, and now I know why with Excel I actually had to delete the square. But for you, please don't get confused. Don't let little things confuse you. This is the solution. Don't worry about this. Take the solution. This solution is a solution that I found later, but I don't want to confuse you. So just take the solution that I had everything here. And also, as I mentioned in class, every time I will run solver, I will have better. You might have better solution than this, but for now, let's all agree to keep this solution so no one is confused. Okay, enough of confusion. And I hope right now you understand that you can trust me. I just guys, I'm getting older and this sinus is killing me. So I just forgot why I dropped the squares here, and I now remember, because when I ran solver, it actually gave me 1 1 1 1 1. So in the future, lovely people, if you are using this for your research, and you don't want to use Python or R, even though using Python or R is way much easy, but this is also nice visualization. You could just not add the square root to the power of 2. Don't add to the power of 2, and Excel will work just fine. In any case, you better use something like Python or R, because it is more stable and gives you a very good solution in no time. Not like Excel. In Excel, you need to buy a plugin that helps you get the answer very quickly and the last answer immediately. But the plugin costs money, and I don't want you to pay for it. So I gave you the solution. Please, you can trust me on that. All right, the top deals here for medium cluster. What we're doing now is the second piece of information. This offer belongs to which cluster? So you can see here that easily you can see that, in fact, this piece of information could be found here, because you can easily see the offer number and the clusters. So let me add this into this sheet and put it a little bit later. You don't have to copy me. I'm just putting this for your interest, in just for your own info. And over here, if you guys remember, what we've done is we summed if the range of the clusters, which is the range from M39 to DH something, DH something like I don't know which DH, but not DH. Medium mid C range is actually here, this one. I think here it's this one. Maybe this Excel, it is related to this, but remember both of them has the same solution, so it's okay no matter which Excel. Yeah, this is mid-range. So this is without the square root, and this is with the square root. So this is the mid-range, mid cluster, medium cluster range. So this is the within this range. Somewhat sum these offers when the cluster is equal to 1, when the cluster is equal to 2, when the cluster is equal to 3, when the cluster is equal to 4, up until equal to 5. So based on this, within this range, when the cluster is equal to 1, sum the number of offers and the number of clients, the number of clients interested in that offer under this cluster. So this is exactly what we're doing with the top deals. So in that range, the range that I just showed you, when it is equal to cluster 1, when it is equal to cluster 2, as you can see here, 2 is highlighted, when it's equal to cluster 3, and so on. Sum these, the medium C without square root, medium C without square root, sum which M2 to DH2, which is basically this, M2 all the way to DH2. Now M2 and DH2, I think I froze it. Yeah, I froze the M and I froze the DH only, because once I want to copy that, I want this to be 4, I want this to be 8, and so forth, 9, and so forth. And so forth. Okay, good. I think now you understand what we're doing. So now what is it that we're doing here? We're just making sure that there's the number of offers for each cluster, just a verification. So let's take a look. What did I do here? I think I copied this one here just to verify. So these are the offers. Each one has 15 clients. So if you remember, I told you the first thing that you took in marketing, if you covered market segmentation, customer segmentation, there are 5 different criteria that you need to check to verify that this is a valid cluster. And one of them is that the cluster should be big enough to be a cluster, not a cluster that doesn't have any clients, not a cluster that has like 1 or 2 clients. This is not a cluster anymore. This is a pure personalization. Do you see, guys, what I'm talking about? Do you see? Lovely. Over here, it has 6. Then over here, it has another 6, 4, 4, 4. And then over here, good. So even if over here it has only 1, it's okay. It's the sum of all these. So maybe you can personalize this. Let me show you how. By saying equal sum if. So you say sum if the range and the criteria, this range, sum if it's equal to 1, sum which one? Sum these guys. I want to know the number of offers that fall into that. So sum if it's equal to 1. So sum if 15 and 15, 30 and 10 is 40, 43, 40, 50, 60, 70, 2, 75. Okay. I'm usually better in math, but you got the idea, isn't it? So over here is the same. So over here, for example, 1 is 8, and then 1 is 7. 8 and 7 is 15. 15 and 27. 27, 38. Yay! So you can see what is it that I'm doing with this formula. I am adding only the numbers that corresponds to 1 in here. Maybe I shouldn't copy that very far off, right? Yeah, I can copy it here. So this is what we are trying to do. Also, last time I just introduced you to a total idea to sum all this just in general, but actually you need to sum it based on 1 or 0, just to make sure that you are building up on your knowledge. You don't have to do any of this if you don't want to do it. If it shortens your lifespan or you feel very confused, don't worry. Just watch and enjoy the ride with me right now, and know that you should know how using Excel can help you find out the information. This is the information you'd like to communicate. So over here, as you can see, this is the number of clients in each offer for each cluster. They might overlap though, as you can see. Okay, so over here, they might overlap. Is that correct? They shouldn't overlap. How are we going to send an email when they are overlapping? So I'm receiving 2 emails with 2 different offers. Actually, this is supposed to be 100. So over here, when it's this is the number of clients who bought this offer or interested in this offer, but this client also maybe bought here another offer. However, he will receive only 1 email, and the likelihood that this email touches on his interest is very high. Meaning, out of, for example, this 75 here, there is always an error in data analytics. Out of the 75, as you can see here, maybe 5 has no interest in the email I send them. But if I send the same email to the 100 clients, I will have over 20 people not interested in the email that I send. While here, there's always a marginal error that maybe Nora is not interested in these offers and she's more interested in other offers because she also lands some loading on other clusters and other offers, but it's okay. It's all about probability and statistics. It's all about probability. So the probability here and the likelihood is as high as possible. So you might, of course, there is a probability and statistics. Otherwise, everyone in that email would have responded to my email placing an order. But as a matter of fact, only a percentage based on their needs and wants and. So anyway, I hope now you can see the power of Excel. You can better understand the analysis. I made sure that I don't introduce everything at once very quickly so that you don't get confused, but maybe I should have been a little bit slower. Cluster and the client, same thing that we've done earlier. You just copy the client and copy the cluster, and over here you know which offer, each cluster, which offer. So here, if you are talking about cluster 1, we're talking about offer 7, 8, 18, 29, and 30. And this is why, if you've noticed, I think in the mini case, I have it still done in the same order. So for cluster 1, I have 7, 8, 18, 29, and 30. It should be here. 7, 8, 18, 29, and 30. Let's take a look. 7, 8, 18, 29, and 30, and so forth. Let's take a look at the offer cluster 2. Cluster 2 is 4, 6, 7, 8. Again, we have other same offers. Do you see? 7, 8. So offer 7 and 8 also goes into cluster 2. So this is what I'm trying to tell you today. 4, 6, 7, 8, 19, 22, 27, and 31. And then we've done this at the very beginning, we've done this, which is crunching out the common ground. So you need, as a human being, to take a very close look and see what is it I can extract out of it. So here, minimum quantity, sparkling, we can talk about sparkling and so forth. All right, very good. So now, this is all what I have for you today, and eventually this is the most important also. So this is one of important issues. Second important part, what did I do? Did I close it? No, it's iPad. Horrible. I don't want the mini. I want the one that has the... I probably don't have one. I want you to make one. Okay. Okay, no problem. So, okay. So now over here, the exercise or the assignment that you need to do is basically to spend 15 minutes of your time to copy the number of offer here. Just take this. I'm gonna offer you this file, and what you need to do is you need to copy. All right, so over here 111 here, so all you need to do is to actually copy these guys here, copy for cluster 1, organize your thoughts, organize your data, and over here you have this, and then over here you have these two, because the mini case study that I gave you, it's about orange juice, has nothing to do with the wine case, and it's meant to be this way so that you can do it. So now you are presented with this file, and now next video we're going to brainstorm together how to write, for example, a value proposition. So I just want you to put this together and highlight if you want over here. For example, I'm going to highlight minimum, highlight it with red, even though here this red, minimum quantity here, or you can just write it down here. You just say minimum quantity is something I want to focus on, and then take a look here and see if this is all white wine or red wine. So take a look at the varietal, check it on Google. So check it on Google so that you have a better understanding of this wine. Check if it's white wine, red wine, sparkling, and so on. And over here you can just say, okay, maybe it is more about the French. Maybe I can highlight this. It's up to you. It's about your human nature. So you can highlight also French if you want, the origin. You can highlight this also if you want. And then it's not on its peak, and here it's on its peak. What does that tell you? That tells you, if I tell you that what's the month, it's October. Not now, today we are October. So this means that in October, March is the peak. So if it's past its peak or is it didn't pass its peak. So it's past its peak. True, it's past its peak in March. Over here it says false, it didn't pass this peak. So it's quite confusing here, the peak really and the month. So let's not worry too much about this in terms of, the peak is not in terms of, it seems to be not in terms of a month. Seems like with agriculture it's maybe a little bit more confusing and complicated. So maybe a little bit early March or late March does make a difference. So here it just says March, so we don't know early March or late March, but it seems like sometime in March there is a peak. This is why it says false, and July and November and March and December here. In any case, I hope now with this video, I don't want you to do anything. I'm going to give you this file. The only thing I want you to do and submit the file again so that I make sure that you watched this video. The least that you could do is help me help you understand what is it that we're doing. So now I just want to make sure that you've watched this video. So just try to list down here the different campaigns, the offers here, which offers belong to which cluster over here. And I think we have enough space. I hope we will have enough space. And here, number 5. And then submit the assignment, and that will be the assignment. So the assignment is pretty easy. Just go over here and say, okay, this is cluster 2. Cluster 2, we're going to talk about offer 4. So maybe I'm going to highlight them first. And cluster 2, we're talking about these 3 offers. Make it a little bit smaller with these plus and minus sign. And over here say, okay, I'm going to take a note of that. And then this is I can do it in a different way, but I don't want to complicate your life. Do it this way, which is the very basic way. And this is here. So you could do that. If I were you, I would just do like this and bold it, and keep an eye on here. If you are worried that you might lose a track, because we have the conditional clustering, you can just bold it, make sure it's bolded, double check, and then you can easily just copy. Did I unbold some of them? I think so. Okay, and then you can just copy these guys like that. Just copy. It's going to take a while, but this is definitely important because this is part of analytics. You need to be patient with the data. This is part of arranging the data for brainstorming. And here, you need to see what kind of things I do for research, and it's so boring. And the problem is you might actually, while doing these things, you might easily lose track and make a mistake. Okay, make a mistake, so I always make sure that I double check every step of the way. And I've done the right thing. Here, just be patient. And if you're not patient, then it's up to you. Don't do the assignment and you will be penalized for it. It's just an easy assignment, needs a little bit of patience, and show you the hardship of you need to be looking at the data also for presentation purposes. Let's say that you want to present, and this is one of the things about business communication. Business communication, especially for my DBI students, they maybe have to present as part of the team. Even if they are not technical people, but they are business consultants, they need to be part of a presentation, so they need to give suggestions on how to do that. So you need to do something like the mini case study that I showed you and put it all together and highlight it. Highlight over here what are the key points. So over here, also do not forget that one of the key points is the discount, because this is an incentive in marketing. In marketing campaigns, we're trying to give a discount or an incentive. So this is the kind of things that we would like to also do. And over here, the same thing. So you can say over from 40%. Offers start from 40%, I would say, in this case, because 40, 45, 50, only one offer up to 87. Over here is the same, but maybe if you want, you can also choose another strategy by saying up to 88% or up to 89% discount. So you could also use either wording. So try to take a look at different wordings that you are used to and be creative. So this will be in the next video, in the next exercise. So right now, please spend about 10-15 minutes, complete this exercise. I need to make sure that you have seen this video, you all understand what is it that we're doing, you all understood why I did not add the square. I remember now why I did not add the squared, because when I did the solver, I ended up with 1, 1, 1 on each. So it's not a big deal, it's not a disastrous thing. I also looked into the book. I think the book, I have it over here on Kindle. So this is the book that I told you that I got the data from, and the whole case study. So, and I verified. Wait a minute, this is a different thing that I'm reading. It is somewhere here. Data Smart. Yes. I think the book name was Data Smart. So this is the book that I got this case study from. So please be patient and be confident that I got it also not because of my own thoughts. Also, the writer of the book, as I told you earlier, Data Smart, he is one of the founders of MailChimp, John Foreman. So he's one of the founders of MailChimp, and this is where we got the data. All right, I'm sorry for that, it's just got stuck. All right, guys, so we know that this is the way to go, and we just had to summarize this and see which points we need to focus on when writing an email so that we can proceed in the next video. Thank you.